These three very loud girls, including one beautiful blonde girl in a purple see-through thing, bounced out into the quadrangle. That beautiful girl is having a birthday today, and we've been talking, I suppose, over the last year or so about when it's time for retirement. And what do we do next? And Linda's got a very special birthday today that allows for some consideration of that. A small consideration, which I'm not really acknowledging, but the tax department does, which we think is very good. But look, I thought we've lived away from here for 30 odd years, roughly. It will take a few months. And I thought it might be interesting for you to just know some of the things that have happened in Linda's career over that 30 years, because she's thinking about, hey, time to go off and do other things. Maybe. I'm arguing against that, of course, for obvious reasons. But look, when she first started work, as some of you may know, because she was still living in Victoria at the time, she went to Horsham. We drove her up there. I remember driving up there. You're not going to hear about that. That's right. But she started her career with a big bang. Probably the best way of putting it. A very successful year. She was voted Teacher of the Year that year, and then she was smart enough a couple of years later to actually follow me to Perth. Well, half the time I thought she might have led me over there, I don't know. But look, she came back, and just to give you a sense of, and I think it speaks a lot for the way Linda's approached her career over a very long period of time. She had the opportunity to come back to Perth because she was forced back from Perth to Melbourne. She had the opportunity to go for a job interview in Perth, but she was here in Melbourne. So I flew to Adelaide, she drove to Adelaide, then we drove across the Nullarbor, ran out of petrol on the Nullarbor. She dressed up as a big bloke, sitting in the car while I had to go off and hitchhike and get some petrol and come back. We got back into Perth. Linda had a shower and then went to the interview and got the job. Which I think speaks volumes for tenacity and I suppose courage and determination. A few years later, she got sick of that job. She'd done enough. She had changed the way Perth College worked. She was head of the department by that stage and had run one of the largest inter-school carnivals in the history of the private school system over there. She decided that she had to do something else. She couldn't cope with the 10-week holidays, summer holidays, and used to sit around saying, what am I going to do next? What am I doing? What am I doing? And so she went off, did an MBA, and I think in her second year of that MBA, she did market research, topped the class, and then found her new career, which was marketing. She's now a marketing director, or still a marketing director, as we know, and has now combined her marketing and education. Actually works in the Navitas, which is an education service provider for those of you who don't know. But you may not know, I don't know whether you do or not, but she actually managed a business in Thailand during the 90s and remotely. She worked in business development in Indonesia, she worked in business development in the Philippines. I volunteered to go with her to the Philippines because there were still gunshot holes in the hotels where she was staying. No power to the hotel rooms. Pretty brave to go over. Eventually, she came back and became marketing manager within Telstra for this newfangled thing called SMS and data management. But she was working for a very strange man, I must admit, and she was recruited into this new .com business, which turned out to be things she had to develop called VPay. And it was about 3 years later, she was actually voted the, make sure I get this right, the e-commerce executive of the millennium in the finance and banking industry.
Wow.
And I don't know whether it was the e-commerce skills or the marketing skills, but certainly deserve it. If you look at the growth of that business, it was unbelievable. It would be on a day-to-day basis, it was growing in the millions. And I think by the end of the year, it was about 3 billion in transactions, which is just unbelievable. The last few years, and I better get onto this because everyone's getting dry, but the last few years we've obviously been travelling a lot. We worked out the other day that we've done roughly 500 flights between the Gold Coast and Sydney going backwards and forwards. And so at the moment we're saying, hey, is this really the right thing to do? Are there other things we should be doing? And I think if you look at the history of your career and your decisions, and they've taken some time to develop, and but I'm no doubt sure that they've been the right ones as you've gone. So, could you charge your glasses, Belinda? Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday, sweetheart.
You're a legend. But before we go, if I could also thank Leslie for helping me organise today. And I know Leslie without doing this, and Gillian, also thank you very much for helping to bring all the troops together. I know that without your support,
we won't be here.
We would definitely not be here. So thank you. All right, you better get on there.
I'm going to say a word Thanks everyone for coming today. It's not a great celebrator of birthdays. I like them to sort of just slip by, but I was told because it was 5-5 I had to do something. So it's really lovely to have good family here to share it with. And to Mum and Dad, who've been an amazing support for all my years. Chris only told you the good parts. I did have a few bad parts on the way. And to Jill as well, who's been great support as well. And Chris, thank you, darling, for lovely words. A lot of my decisions, he's obviously always there for me.
Yeah, well done. Thank you. Happy birthday.